Hello, I'm AD Hobbs, and check out this toy. Just a toy of a regular guy, an ordinary policeman. Yes, nothing suspicious, nothing creepy about him. Just a regular sort of highway patrol policeman. He says hello, 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 and then after that he says boo. Okay. Yes, looks just like a regular guy and then turns into this creepy skeleton monster. Yeah, ex-cop. Yeah. And his arms go long as well. His legs become skeletal. So yes, a skeleton come back to life, disguised as a regular human. And as you've probably gathered, this concerns Ghostbusters. Now, or more specifically, the original film, because there's a remake with the same name. So you have to be specific. You have to say the 1984 film Ghostbusters. Now, when Ghostbusters first came out, they didn't do, they did little or no merchandising. No, it never occurred to them it would be very popular with children, yeah. And that's why 2 years later, and throughout the rest of the 80s and into the early 90s, nothing but Ghostbusters toys. You couldn't avoid them. They were here, there, and everywhere, yeah. And because, of course, Transformers were quite popular, let's make them transform. Yeah, some of them could transform. Very clever engineering of toys, yeah. And, for me, the definitive image of Ghostbusters is here, Slimer, the ghost Slimer, yeah. And he doesn't really have a tail in the film. He's just like a big green blob. But no, they've made it inaccurate on purpose because it makes it more convenient to hold him like that. So it's like he's flying, he's floating on the air, yeah. So that's Slimer. Very greedy ghost. He's just credited as Green Ghost on the toy package. I think because 2 years later, 1986, then he was called Slimer, yeah. And, well, oh yeah, I suppose I better point out that he doesn't have any legs because, of course, he doesn't need any. He flies, he floats on the air, so why would he need any legs? And there's other ghosts in the film that just float like that as well. The librarian doesn't have any legs, and the white wispy ghost doesn't have any legs. But the thing is, that's not 100% original. In Conan the Barbarian, 2 years before this, there's a scene where, some demons want to take Conan's soul away. And the demons look more or less human, except they're a red wispy colour, and they don't have any legs. They just have wispy tails instead, because they don't need legs, because they can float above the air like that. In other words, Ghostbusters not 100% original. Well, it's 80% original, more or less, yeah. And, Slimer, well, he's the most memorable ghost, because he's the first one they catch, yeah. And Ghostbusters, not 100% original, no. We'd had films about getting rid of ghosts before. The Exorcist, The Entity, Poltergeist, yeah. But Ghostbusters is the definitive one. Whenever you think getting rid of ghosts or trapping ghosts, you think Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's the image that springs to mind, yeah. Oh yeah, ectoplasm. Ghosts don't have blood. They have slime, or ghost slime, and it's on the outside of their body, not the inside. And that's why in the film when a ghost goes through a wall, there's green slime. A bit like a slug leaving a trail of slime behind, yeah. And it's green, yeah. In Poltergeist, it's a very short scene, but they do talk about ectoplasm, but it's red in Poltergeist, whereas it's green in this film. Well, we don't really know what colour it would be, do we? But I think because it's green, that makes a joke, because it looks a bit like snot, so it's revolting, it's disgusting, yeah. It gross people out in every sense of the word, yeah. And, okay, I'll start right at the beginning. When I first heard about Ghostbusters, I didn't see the film, but when I was about 5 years old, I remember there were these, in a breakfast cereal, there were Ghostbusters stickers. And I remember one of the stickers was of a terror dog, and I thought, wow, that's a cool monster, yeah. And I remember seeing a clip of the film where a terror dog gate crashes a party, yeah, and I thought, wow, what a cool monster, yeah. However, I thought Busters meant cool dudes or cool members of a gang. Yeah, it's a story about a gang of ghosts. They're the cool dudes, the Ghostbusters. Yeah. Plus, Muscle. There were these wrestling figures called Muscle. Millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. And one of the characters was called Muscle Man, and he was the leader of a team called the Thugs. Oh no, not the Thugs. The Thug Busters. So yeah, I thought Busters meant a load of cool dudes. It's about a gang of ghosts called the Ghostbusters. Well, how wrong can you be? No, it never occurred to me that the story would be about people that get rid of ghosts. Oh, right, okay, ghosts. But yeah, the first time I saw the film, I worked it out. They're Ghostbusters. Is busting another word for killing? I don't know. And then, how can you kill something that's already dead? Well, later I found out, yeah, you live and you learn, Busted is American slang for, well, trapped in a cage or put in a trap or incapacitated, made immobile. Yeah, you can't go anywhere. Yeah, so they bust ghosts. And okay, I suppose I better get this off my chest. Yes, Ghostbusters was originally a Filmation kids TV show made in 1975, and it was called The Ghostbusters. Not Ghostbusters as one word, no, two separate words. The Ghostbusters, that's what it was called. And Columbia Pictures tried very hard to get the rights to that name because it's a cool, catchy name, yeah. And it took them many months after they'd started shooting the film, you know. And they thought, well, if all else fails, we'll just have to call it Ghost Mashers or Ghost Hunters or Ghost Capturers or Ghost Breakers, you know, whatever, yeah. Eventually, they got the rights to the name, yeah. And the Filmation was okay with that because they just thought, you know, they paid us the money and they didn't think it would make a lot of money. Oh, they were interested when it got successful. Oh, yes, they were interested then. So, yes, okay, Ghostbusters was like the improved version of the Filmation TV show, but not entirely original. But then, was the Filmation Ghostbusters original? I mean, think about it. That came out in 1975. 5 years before that, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. That's a horror comedy. Yes, they capture a ghost or something that's ghostly with supernatural powers. Yes, comedy horror. The first successful thing to do that was Scooby-Doo, yeah. And I suppose Ghostbusters, that was their answer to that. In England, we had Rent-A-Ghost. That was a horror comedy that came out in the mid-70s, and that was a kid's show. Yeah. Well, original or not, Ghostbusters had a huge influence on pop culture. Because of Ghostbusters, we had Gremlins, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Beetlejuice, a movie version of The Addams Family, Critters, The Monster Squad. Horror comedies, basically. Yes, they were everywhere, all jumping on the bandwagon because of the success of Ghostbusters, yeah. And it was far more successful than the creators could have ever anticipated, yeah. 2 years later, there was a TV show called The Real Ghostbusters, and but basically, it was the top show, yeah. I watched loads and loads of episodes, yeah. And one of the things I loved about Ghostbusters was because I was very scared of ghosts when I was a little kid. I remember when I was about 5 years old, I saw this film. There was a ghost called a banshee that made this horrible wailing noise as it came up. And you can't get rid of it. And this, like, farmer or something, he gets a big axe and he tries to make it go away, but it just goes right through it because it's a ghost, yeah. There was something creepy about that, an enemy that can't possibly be stopped. It was really creepy and eerie, yeah. Well, Ghostbusters can do something about it. They can get rid of them, yeah. So, yes, you can fight fire with fire, yes. If you have the equal level of power as the ghost, you can get rid of it. So, yes, that helped to stop me being scared of ghosts, yeah. And here we have a toy of Dana Barrett, who's played by Sigourney Weaver. Well, this is how she's dressed after she's possessed by the spirit of Zool, yeah. And yes, I first saw Ghostbusters when I was about 7. I'd never seen a person possessed by a demon sitting and she floats in the air. That was really creepy, really scary. But the thing that got me was Peter Venkman, who's going on a date with Dana, he's not scared in the least that she's talking like a demon and all that and everything. And I thought, how can he not be scared? How can that be? Because he's a Ghostbuster. Yes, they don't fear anything, yeah. Well, they certainly don't fear anything when they're armed with a proton pack. Yeah, here we have the proton pack, the PK meter, and all that and everything. And over here we have a little ghost trap. You put your foot on the bit at the end here, and then it opens up like so. Yeah, and capture the ghost. Yeah, like that, and you close it back up again. So yes, they're well equipped. They know a lot about ghosts, know how they behave and everything. Yeah, and when I first saw Ghostbusters, I think the first bit that made me laugh was this. When originally there's 3, but then later they become 4, a bit like the Three Musketeers, yeah. Anyway, when Peter Venkman, who at this point, at the beginning of the film, he doesn't even believe ghosts exist, he thinks it's nonsense, but his 2 friends, Ray and Egon, assure him they've got the PK meter, like a ghost detector, and he thinks, oh, what the heck, he plays along with it, yeah. And even when he sees the ectoplasm, he doesn't believe it's ghost slime. He just thinks someone's sneezed. You know? yeah. He's not impressed at all. But when he sees a real ghost, oh yes, then he believes it then. A ghost of a dead librarian, yeah. He believes it. So finally it works. The ghost detector thing works. They've seen a real ghost. And then Peter Venkman says, so what do we do? So what do we do now? Can you come over here, you two, please? I want to talk to you. Yeah. Yes, they didn't think past proving the ghost exists or finding it. Well, what do we do from this point on? We don't know, do we? Yeah. But then afterwards, of course, Egon says, from the readings I've taken, it's possible to capture a ghost indefinitely, yeah. Dana Barrett doesn't believe in ghosts at all. She sees the advert on the telly. Call the Ghostbusters. If you see any ghosts, we're ready to believe you. She doesn't believe a word of it. Then finds a parallel dimension in her refrigerator with 2 terror dogs in it. Well, she believes it then. Yeah, she's terrified, yeah. And at first, things are not looking very good for the Ghostbusters. Yeah, they've got all this special equipment, the proton pack and all that, and it's a nuclear accelerator inside. And they've had one customer, and that's it. No customers for a very, very long time. Things are looking bleak. They may have to call it a day, you know. Then finally, they're over the moon. They've got a special, not just any ghost. No, it's Slimer, yeah. And he goes through Peter Venkman, covers him in slime, yeah. Hence his nickname, Slimer. And it's a posh hotel, so they'll pay them a lot of money if they get rid of this ghost. So yes, at last, this is their big chance, yeah. And the Ecto-1, yeah. I assumed Ecto-1, that was a car made up for the film, yeah. I found out later, no, it's loosely based on the old-fashioned ambulances they had in America. You'll know them when you see, well, in the movie Bullet, there's an old ambulance just like it, except a different colour, I think. But yeah, yes, because when the Ghostbusters, in the story, when their business first starts, they're on a small budget, so they're to save money, they have to get an old-fashioned car, yeah. Or it's like a van, really, the ambulance. Anyway, so at last, yes, they've captured a ghost, made a lot of money, and then afterwards, there's loads of ghosts everywhere. Oh, the free Ghostbusters, they become celebrities on TV and everything. There's loads and loads of work. They're available 7 days a week. In fact, there's too much work, so they need extra help. So that's why they need a 4th Ghostbuster, yeah. And yes, they explain to the new recruit how to put the ghosts in the containment unit and all that and everything, yeah. And then later in the story, there's this strange, eerie music when Walter Peck comes along. He's not a ghost, no, but there's creepy music because he's a threat he invites disaster, basically. That's why there's scary music, yeah. And but it's an interesting concept, Walter Peck, because ghosts are not real. But if they were real, yes, we'd have some critics. We'd have some people that are sceptical as to whether or not ghosts exist at all. So he wants an absolute proof. And because they won't let him see the containment unit, he makes something up and says it's environmentally unfriendly. It has to be shut down, otherwise it will pollute the atmosphere, which is nonsense, you know. And they have to turn it off to save the environment because, no, if you turn it off, all the ghosts will go free and it'll be pandemonium everywhere, yeah. Why didn't they let him see the containment unit in the first place? Well, because they're the Ghostbusters. Nobody else on the planet knows how their ghost-catching equipment works. If that became public, well, then others would copy what they do and then they'd go bankrupt, you know, so they have to keep it a secret. And it's not just a question of making money. They're the best qualified to do the job. They can capture both ghosts better than anyone. You know, we don't want any amateurs trying to capture ghosts, you know. This is a very specific job that needs very specific people, yeah. Oh, and I suppose I'll just have to say, Gozer, I assumed that was a ghost made up for the film. It isn't. It was a real creature, the entity that can be either male or female, worshipped by the Hittites, yes, and not worshipped anymore. Because if it was a current religion, that would upset people if you make out their deity to be a monster. But because it's an old religion that nobody worships, then it's okay. And I think, yes, the 2 terror dogs, like the gatekeeper and the keymaster, yeah, to open this dimensional door into another dimension. Yeah, that's yeah. It's obviously it's a comedy, but it's loosely based on an actual existing religion, or used to exist, yeah. And when Ray says to Gozer, the Gozerian, go away, go into another dimension, she says, are you a god? No. Then die, yeah. If you're not a god, you can't order me to do anything. Only gods decide the fate of the world. And, yeah, mortals have no say in the matter whatsoever on destiny. Oh, they don't, do they? Mortals have no say in the matter whatsoever. Well, the Ghostbusters beg to differ. They think, yes, we do have some say in the matter. Yeah. So I suppose one of the things I love about it, it's a very clever comedy. It's very well worked out. Yes, the jokes work and the story works. And it's like a feel-good factor movie. Yes, at the end, it leaves you feeling good at the end. Yes, the heroes triumph and everything, yeah. And and it just bursts of ideas. There's so many different ideas you can do with the concept of capturing ghosts. Yeah. So yes, it is the definitive horror comedy. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.